We can start. Last week we mentioned about lots of concepts about tutorial studies and a lot of terminology. And I also sent you through the Google Classroom several reading. Actually a lot of reading, but you can pick up something you feel like a really reference and you can read that. And because for some class they have some reading material you need to read. But for me, the tutorial study is really broad, and everyone might have different kind of concerns and different interests. So it is good if you can really explore the topic you are really interested in, and then read a lot of reference. That's also good. And as I say, because tutorial study is the emerging and still new field, so the writing is getting better. It's already increased in the past 10 years. But still, if you compare with art history, like 100 years or 200 years history, of course, the research and the production still quite few. And also, tutorial study is quite connected with contemporary moments. So 90s have their own special social political environment. 2000, 2010, now, after COVID, I think after COVID, lots of things change. A lot of previous writing have some reference, but not so directly. So it's good, you can look around and catch something from others' writing. And also, we have the CCACA journal called Southly, and that's also our platform for knowledge production, especially for this new field. So the NB will organize this journal, and we are thinking about, we might invite the students, if you have like really good final paper, then NB will help you to rewrite as a journal article. Then you can have your first publication in your life. You know, the portfolio is always like that. So you have one, then you have the second one, then the third one. But if you haven't had the first opportunity, sometimes it's really difficult for anyone to get more opportunity. So that's why we need to have this Southly publication platform. And in the beginning, we might focus on students writing, but I think for your writing, because you have one semester to do research, and after that, none of you might help you to refocus or rewrite, and you can increase your writing quality in certain level after the final. You know, the final paper sometimes is like really rough. But we have this kind of system, and if you have good paper, then you can develop based on that one. In the beginning, it's focused on student writing, but maybe 2 years later, we might invite a lot of professional people to also contribute paper. So the quality of the journal will gradually upgrade in different level. And also last week we are mentioned about museum. We look at a lot of different museums, especially after 2000, a lot of new museums open up, not only in Europe, American region, but also in Asia, especially after in Taiwan, after the 90s, we only have 3 big museums, but now I don't know how many, because like the Taichung is coming this December. New Taipei City just opened April, and And the Taoyuan Museum, the main building, might open 2027. And we also right now have the Jiayi, Tainan, and also like a small scale, like a Taidong or Pingdong. So almost like every small, every second label city, they all have their museums. Even like some township, if they really consider with iron culture, they also put on some efforts to build their own museum. So museum system is like a really huge part of the art systems. So today we will look at what is the museum from the cafe of curiosity. Before that, I might give you some the picture of art systems. So you have the museums. Sometimes museum is supported by the government. You have the public museums. And I think in Southeast Asia or in China now, has a lot of private museums. A lot of collectors or people, like kings too, set up their own museum. Firstly, might support his or her collection, but secondly, because maybe the countries or the local not have proper museum, so the private museum play the role. So we have this public and private museums combined as a museum systems. I just announced to the CCACA Facebook next Tuesday morning, we are going to Nanhai Gallery and to meet a group of students and faculty from Tokyo University of Art. Their program is called Global Art MA. So their program actually have curating art, research parts, and also art management. They have 3 small subgroups. So I think it's quite match with CCACA's interests, and also your future career is all like can combine together. So it's quite good for you to meet them and have some exchange program with them. So I set up the program is talk about how to open an art space, or if Nanhai Gallery can be alive again, how you organize that venue. So for the museum, because it's like a bigger size, you have the collection, you need to have the collection, you rely on lots of resources. Might not so easy for a person to set up the museum, but it's quite easy for a group of people, maybe like a collective. Maybe you graduate and 3 of you say, let's do an art space. Yeah, that's why the Southeast Asia has a lot of this kind of initiated project space, and then try to do a lot of quite flexible ways to deliver lots of interesting ideas they really want to do, especially for like local infrastructure in art, not so sufficient. Then the art space can play certain kind of role. So the art space will be here, yeah, somewhere, and neighbor roads. And sometimes this kind of art space will be independent because initiated by one artist or a group of artists. They don't have that much money, but they have a lot of passion, and they really have a lot of creative idea. Tries to deliver something interesting. So that's the art space. So next Tuesday, we will look at that part. So today we will look at here. So you have the museum, you have like art salon. That's also from like a French system. Start from like a gathering place, but also later on coming to the academic. So you have like a kind of fine art department. Then you have like a fine art competition. and then the winner can receive like big money and like a big reputation for develop his or her, maybe her career in the art circle. Later we will look at the detail, but here is like a big picture. And then why I put all this together, last time someone asked me, what do you mean by biennial? Biennial, triennial, documental. Biennial every 2 years, triennial every 3 years. And documental, because it's set up in German, in Kassel, then 5 years one time. Have any longer one?
Münster Sculpture Festival. 10
Yeah,
years.
in another German small middle town, university town, they have the Monster Sculpture Project for 10 years. So I think 2027 should have Documenta and Monster together. And I went 2007 and 2017. So yeah, 2027, saving the money to travel to Europe. Yeah, so that's a kind of periodical exhibition, and all like huge, and they have their different mission. And how this kind of model coming from? Actually, you will coming back in late 19th century in London, the Great Exhibition, and in some European country will be the exposition. It's been like invited so many different kind of participants, and then collected lots of different objects and display. This one developed into like several different categories. One is biennial, triennial, and documental. Because for the exposition, sometimes it's every year or every 2 years. For this whole like gallery, lots of different kind of things together, like a big fair. So our fair is also come from this kind of idea. Then the art fair, the biennial, triennial, and documental might be the gathering a lot of artworks. Then the curators might give the scenes and do some the programming things. But art fair is more like a commercial gallery. Yeah, commercial gallery. They all get together like an art fair. So if you are the collector, you want to buy something, it's like you go to the vegetable market and pick up this and that. So the market idea is the similar one, but just the content is different. And our market is a lot of booths, and each booth might belongs to one gallery. And our fair is always just 3 days to 5 days, and then the rent fee is really high. This October 24 to 27 is the Art Taipei. So Art Taipei is actually the art fair in Taipei. So you also can go around to see what is look like the art fair. Yeah, and this time we was in Seoul, and in Seoul they have their local art fair, but at the same time they also introduced the Freeze art fair. And Freeze art fair in the beginning only in London, then it become like a global, but it's only maybe one in Seoul and another one in certain kind of city, maybe just 3 cities. And they really use this international art fair and local art fair combined together. So for the international professional people traveling together, you can get 2, like 1 by 1. And in Taipei, we have our Taipei is from their gallery association. They have they set up in 90s. So they have like a 30 years history until now. And another international art fair called Taipei Dandai. Yeah, it set up 5 years ago. And then they announced to stop this year. This year already finished. So when May, they have the fair. They still talking about, okay, next year, we still have this fair, but during the summertime, they just suddenly announced they will stop this Taipei Dandai forever. Okay, so actually this one is more like invited like global galleries, kind of international art fair, and Art Taipei is more like a local, but also try to invite certain kind of international partners. These two actually have they compete each other, and they not like resources sharing or supporting each other. But in Korea, the Seoul one actually is their Art Gallery Association invited Freeze to set up the fairs in Seoul. So it's more like a local and global collaborate model. So they can develop together and support each other. But in Taipei's case, it's more like compete each other at the end. Yeah, for the global one, they say, okay, it's too tired to do that. And also related with the test. When you buy our works, you need to pay. Maybe, I don't know how big of the test to the government. So it's like a customs test. I think in Hong Kong and so on, they might reduce to 0. If it's 0, it's mean like for our gallery, it's so easy to come in and out. Yeah, but Taiwan still keep this kind of tests. So for the art fairs, they cannot sustain, especially a lot of global art gallery, they have the difficulties to come in because they cannot sell the works. So the fair cannot be exist. So firstly, you need to approve of private commercial gallery. Then these galleries combine together to be the art fair. And some place has a lot of festival. And I think in Asia, festival is a kind of tradition combined with like locals, religions, or each local have their gallery way. So festival actually is quite good and traditional model. But then the festival combined with contemporary art now. In Taiwan, we have lots of local festival, and all have different kind of mission. Maybe one part is talking about activate the ruin area. Has a lot of abandoned house or like agriculture is already not so good, and how you use art to support that one. And some maybe is the punk. Like right now in Keelung, in the north of Taipei, Keelung Festival open today. Yeah. So they will locate ours in various locations around the city because they want the audience to explore the city by themselves. So every year or every 2 years, they will have their own festival. So it's called Keelung Festival. Yes. Keelung, yeah. Okay. So later we will introduce these 3 parts. What is the original model? Why this original model later on developed into so many different kind of type of different type of exhibition. So actually, great exhibition is more like a gallery, all kind of products to the display. So actually, it's related with department store. The the emergence of department store is also in late 19th century and early 20th century. It's similar with this window display, right? The department store also has a lot of different sections and really consider with what is aesthetic or a seasonal thing. Maybe in the spring they will say, oh, let's do like flowery with the pink colors. So actually it's like a similar mindset or the logic, but just do like different things. For the department store, the display is the supporting with the consuming, selling the product, help to sell the product. But for the biennial, triennial, or the tomato, the display is part of the exhibition, part of the artworks. So it's quite different. So you have the mining art system, museum, art space, independent art space, the museum, the academic, then this kind of great exhibition or exposition part. And also you have a commercial gallery. Actually, you also can thinking about how you draw this art system as a map. And you also, I think in your own country, it might have different percentage. Like in Taiwan, maybe the museum is like a big one. Bigger, maybe we will say 60% or more, 70%. Then art space, recent 10 years is reduced a lot, maybe less than 5%. But we have lots of festivals. We have lots of value. So you also can draw your own map and see what is your art ecosystems. Okay. When you have a unit study class, always will have these pictures for the first class. And we're always thinking about that might be in the Western context is the origin of the birth of the museum. You also can think about yourself. If you collect something, you collect some small, or you prefer to collect a lot of mouse, yeah, and then you try to collect all kind of type, different material, different color, different brand, then full of your house, occupy all the corner, like this. So one day your mother asks you to clean up, then you need to do the category. How you categorize it? With the color, with the size, with the different brand, or with the different time you bought them. Okay, that's also quite curatorial concept. How you categorize these objects, especially in the Western context, 60th century, a lot of people went to the far east to explore, and then they will grow lots of souvenirs at home, especially a lot of things they never saw in the tropical climate or the subtropical climate. You have a special rock, special plant. They are interesting with that. They collect all this and back home. So it's like that. And you have so many different kind of material installed in your house. Then you try to categorize them. Okay. So here, have any principle? A little bit, but not so clear, right? They try to hang bigger size on the wall, then put some small one in the cage. Then they also really good to use all the space. The the wall, hang on the wall. If it's too small, then put it in the box. So it's also like a logic in the collection room. Okay, so we call it the carpet of curiosity. For this one, you will see like three aspects they are looking at this collection. So when you have the collection, then you categorize them, then you open your storage to your friends, and then you all study together because you collect certain kind of special species from the tropical place, and no one saw that before. So it's like really weird, really special opportunity for you to discuss and study together. Then you have your research come out. And this research will also bring in some knowledge because you have a new knowledge coming out. And a lot of new discipline actually also grown up from this kind of research. Medicine, biological things, or different kind of academic discipline through this kind of research. And for this storage room, can you identify how they categorize things?
I'm assuming those are like marine features, like aquatic features.
Yeah.
And then on the left, I think it's mostly boats, right?
Yeah, all the books.
On the left.
On the left, all the birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it also tries to categorize with the area these objects coming from, or what is the characteristic belongs to this object. So you might have so many different ways to categorize, and when you need to open your storage to your friend, of course you cannot like a pile of things and no place to come in. You need to have proper display. So that's really simple display. Recent 20 years, a lot of museums, they try to do open storage. Before, the storage room is only accessed by the museum staff. But recent years, they try to build like a glass wall. So the audience pass by, they can see what is the inside of the storage room. So when your storage room from really dark place to visible is also a kind of exhibition. So the museum will try to make the storage room look better and also have certain way of display. Yeah.
I've been reading up a bit about the yellow box already, and there is this concept of yachi, like elegant gathering in Chinese tradition, where people would also display paintings.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like pretty similar to what was happening in Europe. Why, like, don't we also include things like this in the study?
Yeah. So later on I'm going to introduce the yellow box, and I also circulate, or in the CCACA library you also have the article about that. And in the yellow box is talking about the ancient Chinese intellectual people gathering together. So actually it's like a similar, all people together to study somewhere valuable object for them. So might be the knowledge come out, but in the Chinese context, I think not many people do this kind of research, and we don't know through this kind of gathering what kind of knowledge might produce. But in Western context, is quite clear. Actually, is nature history as a discipline coming out, or museum study coming out really late, or medicine things also like that. So as I say, in your own country, in your own cultural context, you have something, but not yet have any research. You can really thinking about what kind of knowledge production might come out through this kind of collection, sharing, discussion, study, and that's all related with the exhibition, because you need to allow all these things can be visible, sharing with the public. Maybe in the beginning, the public may be just 3 or 5 your friends, VIP only, but getting more and more people to know, have any kind of opportunity in your own cultural context. So this is also the artist's words, and he appropriates this kind of cabinet of curiosity, because a lot of interesting objects, because you have like a strong desire to know what's there, why they are here, what is their background, how, if they put it together, any kind of things might happen. When you categorize them as a group, each group means something. Like the natural history, when they put all the turtle together, the big one, the small one, the yellow one, the white one, all the things together, it means something. So like this.
I know that in the context of Cabinet of Curiosities, like they also like try to recreate a small version of the world. It was mostly like for the emperors and the rich people, and by having like this small version of the world, they imagined that they owned the world. It's really colonial thinking.
But you are thinking about in the past, all people living quite far away. When you travel far away, of course you will bring something really valuable, and no one know, no one saw that before. So when you collect that from a different region, maybe you just visit Asia once, and you say, I'm the expert of Asia because I have this evidence, and these 3 might mean something. So the collection actually is a personal creation, the image or the idea of the world, your own world. Do you have any habit of collection anything? Collect anything? Coin? Coin. Okay. From the coin, it's also quite interesting to look at in different historical moments, how the people design the coin, what is the material, how they value upon all those things. And in the British Museum, even the coin have like a special department, has a group of researchers just look at and research with the coin. Yeah. Yeah.
While seeing this, I was also reminded of like so in Nepal, like we have like a royal palace, right? In the palace, the king and the prince would collect like the head of crocodile or like the head of like yak, Himalayan sheep, and then put it for display. And I think that's how like they were like, okay, you know. But then I was also wondering, because like for now, back then, I mean, because they had so much power and they are considered like scholars or like people who try to understand species. So it was not like a crime to bring all these animals and put it. But then I was also thinking, if we do it now, it's like illegal, right? Because all of these, so that just came up to my mind.
And also during the display, also kind of showed off
Yeah.
how brave you are to cut off the liar's head and put in your living room, or how powerful you are because you have so many different kind of liar's head, different type. It means something in some culture symbol. Might give you some certain kind of credit in different levels. So display, thinking about display, not only just put something in open, but behind the display has the knowledge production, has the powers of discourse, because you need to say, what is this, what is that? You have the power to identify it. And through this kind of identification, certain kind of knowledge or discipline might come out. And all like this develop one by one. Actually, a lot of different things. So for like artists, they also like to critique all this kind of collection habits and make their artworks. So it's like a modern version of cabinet of curiosity. So in Western contexts, the Oxford University is start from connected with the university. The Ashenist Museum was quite earlier in 17th century, and it's also combined with a lot of traveling in the far away place. And also British Museum right now, close, started with the only donation from one person. He has a lot of collections and become like a foundation of the British Museum. And later on, of course, they have different kind of collection company, but rely on private collection as the first. Then it becomes like a public museum open to the public. From the museum's architecture, it also tell you something. I think maybe in your own country, your museum also look like this. If you visit Tutu Park, we have Taiwan museum, similar with this, the Greek temple style, and it's talking about this kind of you need to come down yourself and then walk into this kind of temple. And in the temple, you have like a sincere mind to learn, to see, to play. So the museum have, I think all over the world, if you have like a colonial influence, your first museum is always look like this.
Yeah. Maybe I'll draw back first to the cabinet of curiosities, because there is a world of nature, and then in that era, around the 17th century, it's the era of the naturalists. So it's also in line within with the Darwin theory, Alfred Wallace. So then at the time, and also the important thing, the science become main role at the time. So lots of naturalists come to the so-called colonial region, like Alfred Wallace come to the Dutch. It's also the first, we had a joke that, oh, this is the first research trip for the artists, because it's funded by the government. So they come, they use the money from the British, let's say, from Alfred Wallace, and then after that, they got back, got their collection, put to the museum, and then released to the Britannica Encyclopedia. So that's always in line within that. So then we will see after that, in the 1931st, we see the first Paris kind of like art fair of the colonialism. And at that time, that's East Indies, we know Indonesia, they shown the Bali dancers and gamelan. And then it's interesting because the beauty think that this is wow, this is very interesting. Again, that's also origin of the how we call it as Orientalism. So that's when you when they saw the architecture of the museum. So that's also a question for us in Indonesia or maybe in Southeast Asia. Why the role of museum is always questioning?
Yeah. Because it's combined with
Yes.
colonial
Yes.
history. Yeah. And also, like the British Museum right now has a lot of collection, as for to return
Yeah.
to the country. Because in the past, how these collections come into the museum, maybe through war, maybe some certain kind of occasion, and this kind of occasion is uncertain, no evidence to support. So I think in the 21st century, right now the museum's role is quite different. Before, museum is more like really powerful and say we are the knowledge center. We say this, then this thing should be look like that. But after 21st century, a lot of voice should require museums should have this kind of social justice role in thinking about in the past how you face your dark history and how to deal with these difficult history. Because when we say, okay, you just returned, but since it's not so easy like this, firstly, how this object is coming from, in which kind of occasion, who is the owner, how you prove it should be come back to certain place. If this object's owner already, of course, they already passed away. We only know, okay, this might from Pakistan somewhere. Then if you want to return, can the local museum take responsibility to protect these objects? And a lot of excuse from the Western Museum will say, oh, we protect the human beings treasure. We have this opportunity for all the human beings. So they until now not so many cases of return, just few. Every time they will come into, of course, first what is evidence? Then if we return, where is the place? Do you have any professional people can take care of this? I think the case in Greeks, even the Greeks in Europe, they have a lot of collections still in the British Museum, so they also ask for return. And they also set up their own museum, a huge museum, even the place already set up, just waiting for all the facade of the building coming back.
Marbles of the Parthenon is like the most important building.
Yeah. So until even they already done the museum, say we have prepared all the professional people, just waiting. But this waiting is still not yet to deliver. So you can imagine how difficult for others country. I think in Thailand or in Vietnam still have a lot of this kind of treasures somewhere, and how it can right now if the object cannot be returned, like in the case in Taiwan, for like a central Seneca collected lots of indigenous objects in the past, and the indigenous tribe they also ask for to return because that's maybe that object belongs to their ancestors' spirits. So they also ask for return. But some policies cannot return right now. They will do like a co-working together. So it's mean like from the tribe senior member, they will work with museum curator and study together, and they later on they might have exhibition in the trunk, and also exhibition in the public museum. So it's been like the two parties, they are working together. On the one hand, they can bring the object back to their place temporarily through the exhibition in this stage. And maybe the next stage, when these local have museums, then they will return. It's all a similar story. Yeah. So like this.
Like this idea of owning the world is like very ingrained in museum DNA, and like things like econ follow like the framework. So like these frameworks like are like why are we not rethinking the framework? Yeah.
You mean the icon, the museum association?
Yeah,
sharing
or
the
like
same-
hold the museum thing. I feel like museums do exercises to rethink, but there's a part like that's called their DNA that they're not willing to break. So nothing really changes.
Yes, yes. But it's also quite difficult if the existing system is like that. You want to shake in the systems. Of course, you need to make the effort and keep pressure, and you need to have a lot of smart way to negotiate that one. But I think in the first 20th century, the museums, even museum association, ICOM, they also redefine what is the museum definition. So they also put like a social justice, democracy, participation, this kind of term, or equality, this kind of term into the museum definition. But before the museum definition, just talking about museum is a non-profit organization and doing the collection, research, exhibition, education, that's all. That's all. So it's more like a museum function, how is the practical aspects. But recent years has a lot of debate about redefine what is the museums in this contemporary moment, and a lot of interesting issues coming out. So that's the museum part. And I think for like in this region, the museum concept is all the transplanted from the European concepts to the local. So and also through the colonial power, like Japan set up the first Taiwan museum, and the Taiwan museum look like this, and inside has a lot of collection from the local. National Gallery. If we are talking at the British museum system, because for the museum study, I think the British systems is like quite complete. They have a lot of different kind of museum study and different levels of museum. So have the British museums, the National Gallery museums. So later on, they have divided maybe different periods of collection, different missions of the museum. So they also will have like overview and thinking about, oh, British Museum should have this part of collection is you can move to National Gallery. So the National Gallery is set up later and is thinking about its only focus on later on, after 60 centuries collection. So it means like each museums all have their own mission. But in the beginning, like a British museum is like collect everything. From the paper, book, coin, all the objects is all be collected. And later on the books to go to British Library. The years after 70 centuries go to the National Gallery. Portrait goes to the portrait gallery. So they have this kind of collections reorganized. And Taiwan is also facing this issue because each museum have their own collection in the past. But right now have more collections each museum, and certain part is mind overlapping because all the people all have early 20th centuries, and then it also have like a contemporary part. So we also face the issue. We need to reorganize the collection. Maybe we can move certain kind of collections to a specific museum. So very quickly to look at these salons, then we can take a break. So this one is the Paris Salon, and you can imagine before it's more like the royal families or rich family. Of course, will connect with royal. They have their big house, especially the hall of their big house. That place is always for welcome the important people, have the party, have a lot of ceremonies. So they need to have some decoration. So you can imagine before the decoration is all like royal family commission some artists to do like a site-specific portrait. Sometimes it's the family portraits, and then maybe hang on the wall, and the ceiling is so high. So it's not like a small size. Like normally when we visit gallery right now, the size is like this. But before it's more like a size-specific commission project, and this commission project might be delivered 1 year, 2 years, or longer. Okay, so in this part, it's more like the Paris Salon is like someone invited lots of intellectual people's gathering, so they have their house to show lots of artworks. But later on, coming to become a kind of competition, and thinking about, every year we have an open call, and all the artists can have can show here. Then we might select it 1 or 2 winner, then give like a big prize. So this is the venue. Can you identify what is the characteristic of this play? Any principle? No principle, right? Just put any place. So you can put on a really top ceiling. You have like a small corner, the small size one. So during that time, it's more like the jury will come inside and then select it. And thinking about, this is the first year's big award winner. Then this award winner can win the room residency for 3 months. So during that time, it's like a really great opportunity. Then you have like big money, and also you can start set up your own career. I think this kind of system is also being introduced to the colonial area. Right. You have a lot of competition, right? Fine art competition, and how you select. It's like this. Can you really see what is this? It's fair? It's not fair. And sometimes like who can be like a really central location? Maybe, I don't know how it's work with that, because you don't have any kind of principle to arrange this. Yeah. Of course, right now we have the art competition. We will give each artist maybe the similar size of the room and try to make it like equal. But how is made equal during that time? Yeah. I think Thailand also have a lot of competition, fine art competition.
When I completed to get into the university, if you get into like some fine art, you will have to like have a drawing test, right? And our mentor said the way that they select artwork, so they're gonna lay them down and oh this one, and this one, and just select those.
Yeah. So let's just put on the wall, right?
Yeah, just put on the floor and like this, and this.
So it's similar. It's just put on the wall.
Yeah.
Right. And no order, no display. They just select what is the best art. So it's the similar idea. Okay. So they will do like first open call, then secondly the jury will come in to select, then they will become exhibition immediately. So everything in one venue, in one event. And also the party place. So here is, okay, it's interesting to friend, from floor to ceiling. That's their principle. Just occupies any place as they can. So even like if you have the roll shape, you just put in like the left space. Okay, what is this? I really like this painting, and I think it gives a lot of inspiration. When we have the exhibition, sometimes we only show what is the front stage. I think before the opening, everything is messy. But when the opening time,
Suddenly.
yes, suddenly everyone come like dressing. No trash. Only see like very beautiful, clean, proper front stage. But how about the backstage? Why the backstage cannot be visible? Yeah, and then this one is because when they hang on the wall, that's the final moment before jury come in. Because they don't have the artificial light, so the light will rely on the nature light.
Yeah.
So when you draw your painting in your own studio, the lighting system is different. So you might have, according to the on-site environment, to emphasize certain parts. So they are doing their final preparation. And with this kind of stairs and hands, so you can see like backstage and also the audience, they sharing the same time and space. Yeah. Can we have the exhibition like this?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I think a lot of artists, they also try to reveal what is the backstage. So especially a lot of artists really do like institutional critique. They are thinking about what do you mean by gallery? What is so white, so clean? Can we tear down the wall? Then you will see other people walking behind the wall. Yeah, thinking about this from stage and backstage. And a lot of different system of museum, like a roof, is from the palace to the museum. So like the palace museums in Taipei is also based on the previous royal collection. And in 1949, a lot of treasure be transported to Taiwan, and now has different royal museum. Beijing is also called there the Royal Museum, but the variable object already in Taipei. They only have the architecture, furniture, something big cannot be moved, still remain. In Taipei is all like the valuable things, especially a lot of painting, a lot of small objects. And recently, M+ in Hong Kong, they also want to have the royal museums in Hong Kong. So three, and also really problematic. Who is Yeah, legal one. Everyone says I'm the legal one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we take a break, then we will look at another big part of based on the great exhibition and exposition and influence a lot in our contemporary moment.